So this is where we're going to slow down for a bit. So when we talk about radical pedagogy as praxis, if we really break it down into individual parts, when we talk about being radical, we're talking about believing and expressing the belief that there should be social or political change. So pretty much trying to make change from its roots, trying to pull things out from its roots and then plant something new that's going to be changing our society and our planet through the various systems that we have currently and everything. So when we talk about pedagogy, this bougie term, pedagogy, if it were, it's essentially the study of methods and activity as teaching. That's what pedagogy means. So for those of you who are educators, you fully well know what pedagogy means, but for those who may not know, there are many, many models of teaching people, not just elementary level and secondary level and higher education levels, but even through community education as well. There's different ways to teach. It's not just what you have seen through the educator that you've experienced and everything. And you may know an educator that's like, oh, I liked how they taught me, and that's how I learned best, So you may have learned from someone because of that particular pedagogical approach, model, if it were, of how they they presented that information to you. And again, praxis, we're talking about the process of using theories or something that you have learned in a very practical way. So those ideas that we have learned, whether we're socialist, communist, anarchists, and then taking those ideas and turning them into action, that kind of praxis. So if we put those all together, we're talking about radical pedagogy is a way of thinking about negotiating through praxis. And we're trying to understand that relationship between the classroom, in that classroom or in the public, in that production of knowledge, and thinking about larger institutional structures and how we can think about new ideas in a very radical way and understand that these institutions that are out there who are still having us in chains and trying to break away from those in the name of social justice, economic justice, and environmental justice. So we have to really be thinking about that relationship between educators and learners, and then how we're going to really dismantle institutions through education. Because any organizer, if any time you go into organizing, and if there's a formula for it, agitation, organizing, and there's that other element called educate, right? So we really need that education piece in order to advance the necessary things we need to be doing. Next slide.